They attended. That's great. That's part of the job. The fundraising, of course, puts a little different spin on it. There's not way too much time spent on that. But you're right. Look, let me just say this. 10 months in Congress, I actually, even though the problems are more difficult and the shouting has been louder, I'm actually having spent some time in the system more respectful of it than I ever have been before, because I see how it works. Congress, you know, we say all this crazy stuff, bad ideas, good ideas, and everything, and we got the Senate over here, which, you know, sort of acts very, very slowly. Right? There's nice checks and balances. One of the key problems, though, is that the democratic system is lousy at calling for sacrifice today to benefit something 5 years from now, particularly those guys who are going to run for office 3 times in that 5 years.
Go ahead, Jen.
Hi, I have a question about health care, specifically the House version of the bill that you voted for. In Section 7201 and Section 7203 of the House version of the health care bill, a penalty will be enacted for failure to purchase the required amount of health coverage insurance to the tune of $25,000. And if a person fails to pay this $25,000, they can spend up to 5 years in prison. So I would like to know why you voted for that. Also, as a second part to the question, given Article 1, Section 8 of the United States Constitution, as well as the 10th Amendment of the Constitution, which specific article or amendment grants you, the Congress, the authority to enact this sort of legislation? That's my question.
How do you feel about healthcare?
What you're doing with it? What you're doing with it, I feel it's unconstitutional. I also feel it's a shame that neither the House version nor the Senate version addresses any of the issues that are helping to drive up the costs, such as tort reform, malpractice. We're not allowed to purchase insurance policies over the state line, and that's legislated. So all of the problems that I've been able to research with the health problem as a whole, they've all been legislated that way. So I'm curious as to how you can create a 1,900-page bill and then in the Senate a 2,000-page bill to fix all the problems that Congress created. And I also want to know if you read it, because my Bible is 600 pages. Your bill is 3 times that amount.
The Constitution's 1,100 words.
Yeah, I mean, if you can found the country for 200 and something years with that, you know, and you guys don't know anything about doctors. They talk about, you know, now mammograms and pap smears every few years. I mean, what is this? Who are you to talk about this? And tell me when you think it's appropriate for me to go see the doctor. And then tell me what I need to purchase as health insurance. And if I don't purchase that, I'm facing, and I looked it up, $25,000, which I can't pay. And if I can't pay that, up to 5 years in prison. And that's an amendment that Nancy Pelosi said that is fair and necessary, and you voted for that bill.
I voted proudly for the health care bill, and for the following reason. Did I read the bill? Yes, I read every page. That's the answer to your first question. The answer to your second question is why did I vote for it? I voted for it because 18,000 Americans die. This is not me speaking, this is the Institute of Medicine. You say I don't know anything about doctors. I've actually been probably in front of 1,000 or 2,000 doctors over the course of the last 3 years talking to doctors about how they feel about it. By the way, the American Medical Association and the American College of Physicians
They represent 12% of doctors.
Well, let me just finish with my answer to you. Bunch of questions. The American Medical Association and the American College of Physicians both endorse the House bill. I've talked to hundreds of them, but 18,000 Americans die every single year because they don't have access to health care. We have 36 million Americans right now without coverage. Healthcare costs are going up somewhere between 12 and 15% every single year. That is crushing middle-class families, it's crushing small businesses, it's crushing our auto companies.
It's all been legislated that way.
So the status quo simply doesn't work. So did I think the bill was perfect? No. Do I think an individual mandate is important? Yes, it is. Why? Because if we don't require 21-year-olds or 22-year-olds who believe that they're mortal to buy health insurance, first of all, the economics don't work. Second of all, 22-year-olds get hit by buses and get leukemia. And if they don't have health insurance, we're back in a world where each and every one of us in this room who has health insurance get to pay for them to be treated for leukemia and for whatever trauma, whatever issue that they have. Now, the penalties that would be levied against somebody who does not abide by the individual mandate are in fact civil penalties. So I don't think it's like the IRS, you know, unless there is fraud involved, you know, people would be subject to a fine. But is an individual mandate important to make the system work? Yes, it is. And we may disagree with that, but you'll need to explain to me why. You need to identify for me not to be comfortable with individual mandates, you need to find me an American citizen who will never be hit by a car or develop leukemia or some other medical problem. When you find me that person, I'm going to say that's fine. We don't need to do individual mandates.
I think that's a little bit fatalistic, and I also refer back to the Constitution, where you guys get the authority to do this.
Well,
Because these issues have been struck unconstitutional before.
Well, no, they haven't,
They
actually.
have, actually, in
And,
1935.
So this will be adjudicated, right? So if we pass a law that is unconstitutional, the Supreme Court will actually reverse it.
Are you concerned with working on legislation and then later having it deemed unconstitutional rather than working in behalf of the Constitution while you're making these laws?
No
Okay.
respected, no respected constitutional authority has told the Congress that the healthcare bill is unconstitutional. If there were respected constitutional authorities saying that, yes, would I pay attention? Absolutely. But the system works, and if this turns out to be unconstitutional, the courts will act. It happens all the time. But to date, I have not been presented with any constitutional expert suggesting that it is in fact unconstitutional.
I have a copy of it here.
Jennifer, if you don't mind, I'm just
Yep.
going to just carry on to see if there's
Any other questions?
Because I know we're getting short on time.
One more.
Congressman